ancestors as slaves can lead the greatest general strike in the history of this country, taking it to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We can do the same today. I'm calling on black people, white people, brown people, Asian people, immigrants, gay people from around this country to stand up against tyranny and to send a clear message to the ultra-rich and big corporations. We are going to make them pay their fair share in taxes to fund our schools, to fund jobs, to fund healthcare, to fund transportation. Democracy will live on because of this generation. Are you ready to take it to the courts and to the streets?
Basically are, right? When we're seeing just the depth of the attacks that are happening, trying to roll back all those gains that were won through past struggle, you know, that you were talking about. And they're not going to win. They're not going to do it. This crowd out here is showing why they're not going to do it.
It's our money. It's supposed to go to us. And so when we go on a general strike, we're basically saying we want our money to go back to us. We want our power to go back to us, not to these fascists.
Boy. So we got to talk about the latest Trump deranged plot from these liberals who clearly feel like the No Kings riots were not a success, right? I mean, they just had a huge No Kings thing. And did it really do a damn thing? No. Did it accomplish anything? No. And the reason why you know this is because they're now plotting something different, right? This time, they're plotting a mass blackout, okay, which really is a mass economic strike, okay, where they are withholding their labor, aka they're not showing up to work, okay? They're not working, or they're showing up to work and they're doing the bare minimum. They're taking time off. They are not shopping. They're not going to spend any money whatsoever because they want to stick it to Trump in corporate America. And apparently this mass labor strike is being led by woke Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who you guys saw at the beginning of this video went on some unhinged rant talking about how, you know, they need to strike and, you know, slaves and stuff like that. You guys know how this guy rolls, right? There's a reason why he's one of the most unpopular mayors, if not the most unpopular mayor in this country. And for whatever reason, liberals and Democrats think that it's a good idea to get behind this guy.
What would a successful strike look like to you?
Well, first of all, if there was ever a time for working people to unite across our country, this is that time. You know, I'm reminded of the words of Dr. King when he said that if the labor rights movement and the civil rights movement were to ever collide, what enormous potential we would have. And we're in the midst of that right now. What it means is that working people across this country have to send a real strong message to the ultra rich and to these large corporations who have received, you know, one of the greatest tax cuts and benefits than any other time in the history of our country. And if we're not willing to put forth some real economic demands, if that means, of course, withholding our labor, if we're not prepared to do that, then I don't see how we can transform this country. Every single major social movement throughout our history had a full strategy, whether it was litigation, the courts, and also economic boycott, particularly at a time in which the concentration of wealth continues to grow while more and more people continue to barely have the ends meeting at the end of each week and at the end of each month.
The mayor of Chicago has called for a general strike, and I do think that's what we're going to be doing next. We are going to be striking, not buying stuff. If they want to cancel Thanksgiving, we'll cancel Christmas, you know. And here's what I want out of a general strike. Universal health care is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable at this point. Universal basic income. Yes. Every place that has done it has seen a more productive, happier populace. And that will be because 3, we tax billionaires at a 95% rate. And if you think that's outlandish, go back in history. We used to tax them hard enough that they couldn't become billionaires. And we need to do that again. Period. I also feel like we need term limits for the Supreme Court. We need term limits for senators. We need term limits for House representatives. We need the cronyism out. We also need to have a robust Voting Rights Act passed. We need a robust new Green Deal. And, you know, AOC and Bernie Sanders have that stuff already written out. So the framework is there. We just need to strike hard enough we get all of it, because this is no longer a nation for the people by the people. It is a nation for the billionaires by the billionaires. And they are the biggest minority we have, and it's unacceptable that they are running everything. I don't like living in an oligarchy. And I'm poor enough that boycotting the crap out of things is going to be really, really easy. I don't have the money to spend anyway. But there will be a couple things that will be hard to do. However, I boycott Walmart for over 25 years. I think we're up to the task, folks. I think we are. And thrift stores are great. If you prefer shopping online, ThredUp, ThredUp.
The mayor of Chicago has just called for a massive nationwide general strike against Trump in this country. And this is really important, and you should care about this. Because if this happens, I hope, this would change so many things in this country for the better. Think about the No Kings protest that happened a few days ago, right? You know, it's nice. You know, about 7 million people showed up, I believe. That's great. But, you know, it's more of like a parade, right? It doesn't actually accomplish the changes that we need in this country. A general strike would literally threaten the collapse of the economy in this country, which means that all these politicians would have to listen to us. They would be scared shitless if people in this country did a massive general strike. Because historically, those are extremely effective in getting the changes that you want. I mean, if this happened, fuck it, we could probably try to get like universal healthcare out of it. Because the politicians would have to listen to the people. They would actually have to listen to the people that run this economy. The workers, not the CEOs, not the politicians, not the billionaires, but the workers. So I'm really hoping that this happens, because we're in some pretty crazy times right now, and we need this.
Groups are calling for a strike in November. Now is the time to set our demands, because a strike without demands is ineffective. It's just another performative activity. The 8-hour workday, the 40-hour work week, better working conditions were all established from a strike because they had clear demands and they did not go back to work until the demands were met. This is how November should play out. The demands have to be met before workers resume.
I think the only thing that moves the needle here, I'm increasingly convinced, is some sort of national economic strike. There's the meaningful and there's the profound. The meaningful would be or the trivial, I should say, cancel your Disney Plus subscription. Okay, and then we're going to see a bunch of screenshots of people who've canceled their Disney Plus subscription. What I'm beginning to think about personally, because I don't want to wait till 26, I have business relationships and capital with and in Silicon Valley Bank, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Northern Trust, Goldman Sachs. I'm contemplating transferring all of my assets to Lloyd's or HSBC. I'm trying to figure out if there's someone we could call on who's a real leader who could rally the top 3 1/3% responsible for 25% of the spending to, in, say, December, not buy Christmas presents, maybe stay at home, not go to St. Bart's, maybe try and reduce their spending by 10, 20%, which quite frankly really doesn't impact the top 3% income earning households. That is literally pure consumption. And trying to take the economy, if you took the economy's growth down for 1 month by 1%.
In protest, that's what you're saying.
Say, look, I'm not going to fund a move towards an autocracy.
Boy, wow, these liberals crack me up, man. My job is comedy at this point, okay? I'm just telling you. Liberals are so funny to me. I can't stop laughing at them, okay? They're a joke. They're an absolute joke. I cannot imagine being such a loser, right? I'm so serious, man. If you're a socialist, right, you're a loser, right? You have such a loser mentality, right? Like, imagine. You're bending over backwards, begging the government for handouts instead of going out there and grinding. Get a job. Go to work, right? For real. Seriously. Instead of boohoo whining crowd about what somebody got that you ain't got, right? The fact that somebody got more than you. Let's rob Peter to pay Paul, right? That's what they're asking for. Let's be real. Go get your own, right? Go get your own. Learn how to invest. Become financially literate. Grind, work hard. Go get some skills. Apply yourself. Use the internet. Stop being a loser. Seriously. I can't stand these people because they're losers. You sound like a loser. You sound pathetic, especially if you're a man. If you are a man, if you're a grown-ass man and you're a socialist, you are a loser. Okay, you're losing at life. Take all that energy that you use, complaining, boo-hoo, whine, and cry, protest in the street about what somebody got that you ain't got. If you took that energy and applied yourself, right, you would be in a much better situation. You have much better circumstances. You would better get what you want out of life. Clearly, these people are really mad. They're really upset that they don't have what other people got, right? That's all it is. And I think it's pathetic. I really do. I think it is pathetic. Because none of the things that these people are demanding, it's not going to happen, especially with Republicans, right? Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House. You really think you're getting all your socialist demands, right, with Republicans in office, right? It's not going to happen. It's stupid, right? It's dumb. And again, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. So, like I said, this is their big idea. And there's so many ways this can backfire. I want to talk about it because, again, they're doing this due to the fact that the No Kings protest failed, right? They realized, hey, you know what? Doing this No Kings thing, right, this performative nonsense where we end up embarrassing ourselves because it's a bunch of boomers, right? It's a boomer fest. And when it's not a boomer fest, it's essentially a foreign terrorist rally, right? That's essentially what it becomes when it's not a boomer fest. Yeah, you know what? Let's try something a little bit different, right? So again, No Kings failed. So now they want to try to take the economy. And again, this can backfire in so many ways. And I want to talk about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I know you weren't about to scroll, as I'm about to tell you the most important piece of information of the day. I've been tagged in all kinds of videos about this, so I'm going to speak on it. The mass blackout, which is happening from November 25th to December 2nd, I'm all in. I'm engaging, I'm participating. I'll be advocating for this with the Big Beautiful Boycott. We'll be pushing that information in our Discord as well as on our website once it's up and running. The People's Sick Day, who I have also advocated for that movement and their leadership, they've picked these dates as well. All of us, we're all coming together because we have to be one unified front. I'm going to go through the list of asks. You guys are going to flip out. That's fine, but I'm asking you to stay with me because I have a plan for you on the other end of this. First and foremost, if you want to take your country back, all you got to do is hit the pockets of the millionaires, billionaires, and the...
I hope you hit the pockets of Bernie Sanders. Hit his pockets first, right? Hit Elizabeth Warren's pockets. Hit Ilhan Omar's pockets. Hit AOC's pockets. Rashida Tlaib's pockets. They're all millionaires. J.B. Pritzker is a billionaire. Hit his pocket. Hit the pockets of the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem, they're all of them are millionaires, right? Millionaires and billionaires. Hit their pockets first, right? If that's what you're going to do, hit their pockets.
Regime at the helm right now. They speak two languages, money and power. They hold hands. If you take away money, they don't have power. So the asks are this. No work. We'll talk about it. Don't flip out. No spending. No restaurants twice, by the way. Super important. We don't need to go out to a restaurant to eat. We don't need DoorDash and we don't need Uber Eats. I lived in the 90s. I know there wasn't that. No projects, no events. Let's talk about what all of this means and how to prepare for it. I've put together a checklist. All you have to do is follow the checklist and we'll be good to go. I'm also going to put this picture of this checklist in the comments, so make sure you boost that so it stays at the top. And also make sure you save a copy for yourself. Number one, essentials and groceries. People got to eat during this time, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to stock up on food, household items, and medications prior to November 25th. Now, we don't want there to be a surge in spending prior to the blackout. So what we're asking is that you buy from local or community-owned stores whenever possible, and you only buy exactly what you need to get through that brief period of time. Number two, your finances. Make sure you pay your bills and complete essential purchases before the blackout period. We're not going above and beyond. We don't need to spend more than we usually do. Just make sure everything that is going to be due during that time is taken care of. We are going to avoid large corporate spending during November 25th to December 2nd. If you must spend, you need to do it within a local business, a small business, something like that. We are not going to engage with major corporations. Now, work is where people get a little bit hesitant. So we're just going to ask that you do what you can. If you have PTO that you can use, that you can take some days off, do it. If you can't, Well, then you're still showing up, but you're doing only the essential work. You're not going above and beyond. You're not going in early. You're not staying late. You are taking that full hour lunch break. Whatever your setup is, you are doing the bare minimum, because by doing the bare minimum, you are actually taking longer for money to move through the process.
There's so many ways this could backfire that would be so glorious, and I would absolutely love it if this happened. All of these individuals who are participating in this should be fired, right? We should see mass firings of anybody participating in this. And it's easy to tell, right? You know the dates. So once these corporations, right, these employers get flooded with all of these PTO requests, right, time off requests, vacation requests for these dates, you already know why they're doing it. They should be fired on the spot. Fire them on the spot. Seriously, right? Seriously, if you got one of these employees that just so happens, right, to take those days off, those exact days from this day moving forward, right, fire them. You're gone, right? You're gone. Because you know why they're doing it. And to me, it really blows my mind how these leftists have not thought through, okay, what are the potential consequences of doing this, right? Because let's be real. If they actually do hurt corporate America, right? Let's say that this is actually successful. Well, what happens? A lot of these people are going to be fired, first and foremost, right? They're going to lose their jobs, which would be terrible right now, right? Especially considering how, again, the labor market is not too great right now, okay? The worst time to lose your job, right? So, essentially, these companies are probably going to start firing folks. They're going to fire people who had nothing to do with this. A lot of them are probably going to be liberals, right? Because let's be real, they're going to be doing this in liberal cities, right? Liberal areas. So it's most likely going to hurt who? Liberals, right? And the ones that don't participate, that do show up to work, when you have people that are not coming in to buy things for, a week, right? That's a big deal, right? It is a big deal. And companies will cut back. So people are going to lose money. You're going to be hurting the people that you claim that you're trying to help. This is a classic cutting off your nose to spite your face situation. That's what it is, right? That's exactly what it is. That's what they're doing right now. And again, I just find it to be funny, right? It reminds me of what Democrats are doing with the shutdown, right? Well, let's shut down the government in order to save healthcare. But yet you have all these people who are on food stamps, who are on welfare. They're going to lose their benefits, right? They're going to lose that funding, right? Because of the Democrats and their shutdown, right? So people are going to go hungry because of the fact that Democrats say, hey, you know what? We got to shut down the government because we hate Trump, right? We don't like Trump. Fascinating stuff, right? It really is. We're going to see how this works out. But I'm just saying, if you're one of these people that decides that you don't want to show up to work, right? Or that you're going to not do anything at work, you're going to do the bare minimum, don't be surprised when you get fired, right? I'm just saying, these corporations should respond with mass firings, right? That should be the response, okay? I'm at the point now where I don't know why any corporation would employ one of these far leftists, right? These deranged lunatics, it's not worth it because they put their politics above everything else, right? They will hurt your company. They will sabotage their own means of income, right? How they feed their families because they hate Trump that badly. It really should be studied, right? This really should be studied. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But again, I guess this is what you do when, you're Trump deranged.
Process. You know what I'm saying? We are also going to pause anything that's optional, whether it is deliveries or a project or something that can be put on the back burner, it gets put on the back burner. The other thing too is if you can't miss work, I get it. You need to make sure you're engaging in the economic blackout part of this, that you're not spending. Now, let's go to number 4, which is communication and awareness. So we are going to inform our friends, our family, anyone that we interact with on a daily basis of our plans for spending or work, because it is going to fall. Yes, it's going to fall over Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of those important things. You need to let people know why you are not spending and maybe encourage them to join you, okay? You need to share this information responsibly, focusing on the peaceful, legal parts of it. Go ahead and share this video, repost this video, make your own video. I don't care how the information gets out. If you feel like you can't do any of the, asks at least push this information out for others. And then last but not least, after the blackout, we are going to resume spending with independent and local businesses. We are getting away from the corporate overlords, if you will. And after this blackout is a really good time to return to the Big Beautiful Boycott page, which will be up by then, and make sure you are following along with the companies that we are officially boycotting and have officially vetted for their participation in supporting this regime. So I hope all of that makes sense. If you have questions, put them in the comments below and I'll try to do a video response because I'm sure I left some things out. It's go time. Block your calendars out. November 25th is go time.
Hey, best of luck. Best of luck. I hope that they do it, right? I want to see it, right? I hope these liberals decide not to show up to work. You're right. Withhold your labor. Do what you got to do, right? Stick it to them, okay? Stick it to the business in your community, right? Stick it to them, right? All the big businesses in your community in these liberal cities, stick it to them. Do what you got to do, right? I'm rooting for you, Conrad, right? Let's see how this works out, okay? I personally don't think it's going to work out the way that they think, right? I think what they're going to do is that they're just going to incentivize mass firings, and it's going to affect those who are obviously trying to boycott, right? Trying to boycott working, and those who aren't trying to boycott working, who are trying to go to work, who are trying to make money. The fact is that if people aren't spending money, okay, with these businesses, then yeah, that would encourage more firings and layoffs. Again, most of these liberals are in where? Liberal cities, right? Liberal cities, liberal towns, liberal neighborhoods. If this is what they want to do, go for it, right? Go for it. Do what you got to do, okay? Stick it to the billionaires and Trump, right? This is what they deserve. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.